Hello, Peace and Wisdom is back, and I'm your host, Amber, for this installation of Randy Granger in Peace and Wisdom. This program is called Serendipity. Now, serendipity is defined as a pleasant surprise, and I think you will find that the magnitude of Randy's talents through his music and other things in life are just that, a pleasant surprise. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
I realized I wanted to be a musician, I think pretty much like everyone else does, really early on. By the age of 11, I had been singing for weddings and quinceañeras and funerals and all that kind of thing. So I would stand in front of the mirror with a tennis racket, literally, and a hairbrush, and I'd be singing. I just got this excitement about the energy from the music. Then by the time that I went to high school, I practiced really hard, and I was very disciplined for some strange reason, I don't know. The instructors there at the high school band department, they said, "Have you ever thought of doing this as a profession?" Deep peace of the running wave. I would say that my style of music is kind of, what I would call Southwest Americana. In other words, I really draw from the Southwest where I've always lived for the most part. It incorporates and fuses Native American music as Native American flutes, drums. I do a lot of storytelling. I do a lot of creation stories and that kind of thing. But then I also fuse it with some instruments like these things called the hand pans that are really pretty incredible. They're new instruments. They've only been around since the year 2000. My favorite instrument is definitely my voice, just because it's the most unadorned and the most expressive and the most pure in the sense that it connects directly to your breath and to your emotions. So you have to be in a really calm state to deliver something really good. Have the gentle night. And during my shows, I sing a lot in a cappella without instruments. And I find that people come to me afterwards and say that was the most touching part. And like, well, why do you bring all these instruments, My music comes to me in so many different ways. Sometimes I'll just be walking and I'll hear a bird, or I'll hear a certain rhythm of my footfalls. That'll get me going. Sometimes I'll be driving across the country and a melody just comes to me out of nowhere, or a certain lyric, or I'll be in a coffee shop and I'll overhear a conversation and I'll go, oh, that would make a great song, The music doesn't come first, or the words don't come first, or the melody. They all just kind of randomly happen, and sometimes I'm lucky when they stick to me. I was featured for the first Music Spotlight on KRWG. I was really honored. I was really touched by that. The other side, I was thinking, I'm the first one. Uh-oh. Didn't work out the kinks yet, but it was beautiful. It was a great experience. The footage I came away with that was just luscious and beautiful, and I appreciate what KRWG does. I really feel that Las Cruces and the Mesilla Valley has incredible musicians. We're blessed with some just world-class people. So thank you, for helping us out and for saying, look, we have it. It's not just in Albuquerque and Santa Fe, My takeaway from being a musician is that music bypasses our critical brain and our thinking brain. It goes immediately to some part of here, some emotional center that we all have. The best place to hear my music is to come to my shows, because there's nothing like a live show. That energy, that exchange, like I was telling you about, it's real, it's measurable, and it's palpable. And if you can't do that, you can go to my website, randygranger.net. There's links to all the places you can buy. You can buy it from me directly or from my fulfillment center, or you can go to iTunes, you can go to CD Baby, Amazon, but you can also go to Spotify, and I'm on Pandora. I'd say however way that you find to listen to my music and to download it is fine with me. It's all good. Thank you for the people who take a chance on new music that they've never heard, or an artist that they've never heard. It's really easy to get in our ruts of we only listen to this style. I only like 80s music, I only like 70s music, I only like 60s music. It's all related. There's only so many notes you can have. There's only so many chord changes and chord progressions. It's the emotion and the intention that the artist is putting behind it that you're going to respond to mostly. So really, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for listening. And I'm lucky to be here. My guitar shrunk. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Everybody, down in my heart, down in my heart. I've got that joy, 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 joy down in my heart, down in my heart to stay. Joy to the world, all the boys and girls. Joy to the fishes and the deep blue sea. Joy to you and me. Joy to you and me. Go ahead. Joy to you and me. Oh, what's joy got to do? Got to do with it. So that's my talk title for today. What's joy got to do with it? That was a great song. So Randy had invited me to play with him this week, which I always enjoy doing when I can. But my week kind of got crazy, so by the time I got to look at that song, I thought, they don't need me, man, they'll rock it, And so that was a great job. So the other day, I was walking, I guess it was this past week, I was walking through my neighborhood. This was before that 2-day haboob that we had. It was early in the morning, and it was just beautiful. It's almost like the trees are blooming and flowering more than I ever remember. Anybody feel that too? I don't know if it's like a cycle that we're having or something, but like my red-tip photinia that is always red now, it's not red right now. It's blooming all these beautiful flowers. My pyracantha is blooming. Well, I wish it didn't. And everything's just beautiful, and all the trees were blooming, and I could smell all the different things. I could smell the dogwood and the Mexican elder flowers. It was just beautiful. And then the birds were like a cacophony. I call them the tabernacle choir. They were just beautiful, and so many different sounds, and those crazy mockingbirds, every little sound. So I was singing along with them, and it was so much fun. And I thought, I know that they're singing, they're looking for mates, and they're showing what their territory is. But to myself, for just a moment, I thought, that's just joy. I'm going to pretend that they're singing for the joy of singing, and it really felt like that. I mean, it really was like all creation. That's why I love that song that Mary Lynn starts out with. It's a new day. It's a new day. The world's made of soft clay, recreation, spring, and everything. It was just incredible. And so, I was walking along, and I was at that moment. I said, I'm really feeling joyful right now. I'm feeling very centered in what I'm doing right now, what I'm presently doing. I'm just walking through my neighborhood and looking at that spring, and it kind of made me think of Eckhart Tolle. Do you all know him? Fantastic author. Wrote The Power of Now. Wrote The New Earth, and I've been following his teachings for many years. And when he was 29, he was going through a real existential crisis. And he'd been feeling suicidal. He'd been very depressed on and off his entire life. He said for going up to 30 years, he had been very, very depressed. And one night in particular, he was in his room, and he said that even the shadows looked like enemies. And there was this impending, this doom. He just couldn't shake it. And the furniture looked different. Even the bed looked menacing. And so he was really upset. And all of a sudden, he just felt like he was being drawn into this vortex. And he felt like he was really going crazy. And so he said to himself, well, he heard a voice that said, I can no longer live with myself. And by examining what he said to himself, he said, who's myself? Is there another self? Boom, this big light goes on in the dark in his head. And he all of a sudden he realized, I can no longer live with myself. That self, I can no longer live with myself. So that just blew his mind, and it kind of split his way of thinking. And so that night he was finally able to go to sleep. He said he felt like he was being drawn into this huge void, this big vortex, this cyclone. And he doesn't remember anything after that until he woke up the next morning and he heard the birds chirping. He said he'd never heard birds chirping like that ever before. He could hear every single bird. He could separate each little song, kind of like I was doing the other morning. And then he looked around his room and he got up the pencil. He started crying when he saw the pencil. It was so beautiful. He's like, what pencil? He wasn't even on drugs. He was just like present, man. And so he was looking at everything in a completely new way. And he had become a new person by releasing and letting go of his self, of that clinging, of that constant pain that he had been clinging to for all those many years. So for the next 5 months, he literally sat, he was living I think he was in California at that point, and he sat on a bench, on park benches for 5 months and just smiled, Of course, that's when we see that, better walk away. There must be something wrong with that guy.
I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. You don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift. king composing hallelujah. 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 You're welcome to sing along. You know that I've been here before. I've seen these roads, walked these floors. I used to live alone before I knew you. And I've seen your flag on that marble arch. And love is not a victory march. It's a cold and it's a lonely hallelujah. Let me hear you. Hallelujah. 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 And maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love was how to shoot at someone who outdrew you. And it's not a cry you hear tonight, the laughter of someone who's seen the light. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. 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 Thank you. Thank you, Nick.
Hello and welcome back to Randy's Cocina de New Mexico. In other words, Randy's Kitchen here in New Mexico. I had some fresh roasted green chilies that I had peeled. And I was trying to decide what to do with them, make some enchiladas or some salsa or some rellenos. And I decided to make some chili con queso, or as we call it in New Mexico, queso for short. Essentially, it's a cheese dip, kind of spiced up with green chilies and other things you might like to add. First, let's get started with what I use is Velveeta cheese, which lasts forever. I always keep some around because it's pasteurized cheese food, so everything organic has been pasteurized out of it. It's easier to use Velveeta than regular cheese because the regular cheese tends to separate, gets all gunky, and gets kind of oily, and this just makes a much smoother dip that you can always reheat and thin down a little bit. I've already chopped this Velveeta up into cubes, which is really the easiest way to do it. Meanwhile, I'm getting it all over the counter, but you know, mice get hungry too. Let me toss that in here. Now, what I choose to thin it out with is beer. This is Tecate, a Mexican beer, but you can also use some skim milk if you want. I just like the flavor of beer, and it was a way that I learned it. I learned to make it from a Mexican friend that I had in Albuquerque. The easiest way to make queso is in the microwave, so I'm going to start this at about a minute. Some people use a double broiler, some people use maybe a non-stick pan, but I find the microwave is the easiest way to do it whenever friends come over and I want to make some dip quick, and it just, you can work with the temperature a lot. Some other secret ingredients that I add to it is chopped bacon. This is bacon that I crisped up in the broiler, which is my favorite way to crisp bacon. Just have to be a little careful of starting a fire, so keep a close eye on it. I find that the bacon gives it kind of a depth of flavor, and truthfully, bacon makes everything taste better. It's like the secret ingredient of all chefs, I think. Let's check on the cheese in here. Starting to bubble some. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to give it a nice little stir. Now, I don't really measure things, but start with a little bit of beer or a little bit of skim milk, whatever you want to use. And then, of course, just add more beer as you want it thinner. I'm going to stick it in for another minute. As I was saying about bacon, that really is the secret ingredient to my famous queso, and why I have so many friends that are outside waiting right now to get in for this queso to be done. If you don't eat bacon, you can use bacon bits, which I have used in the past when I was less of an omnivore. And I'm also going to put some green chili. When I'm picking out green chili, I like to get the green chili that has a little color in it, like a little red or a little orange, which means that it has started to go kind of ripen, so it gets much, much sweeter. Let's check on the cheese now. Bubbling away. We're going to let it bubble just a little bit. Sometimes when I want to make the dip more substantial, I will chop up broccoli florets really small. I'll put some canned corn in. I might also put some drained black beans, drained and rinsed black beans, otherwise it gives like a funky gray purple color. Woohoo! Hot, baby. Okay, let's get a nuclear in there. Okay, I have thinned this cheese down. I've thinned the Velveeta, and I've sort of melted it down with some Mexican beer. Now I'm going to add the chopped up crumbled bacon. Now I'm going to add the green chili. If you can't find hatch green chili, just get some of those poblano peppers, or, most places carry chili in the grocery stores now. It's not always from New Mexico. More often than not, it's from Old Mexico. So it's not as good, of course, as the New Mexico chili. Okay, I put the green chili in here. I'm stirring it up with the bacon. I really don't like to overspice Mexican food. I think the green chili has enough flavor, so you want to just bring it out. You don't really need to add salt to this because the Velveeta and the bacon have plenty of salt. I'm going to add a little bit of comino or cumin, just a hint, to give it some more depth, give it a rounded flavor. A little bit of garlic powder. That's it. I don't generally put black pepper in my chili stuff because I find that black pepper actually has a much stronger flavor than chili. Okay, so now I have stirred it up, and I'll let you see what the consistency is like, hopefully without burning myself. Oh my gosh, I forgot to put a little bit of dried New Mexico red chili powder. How could I forget that? I like to put that in there, once again, to complement the chili flavor, but also sort of gives it a nice little color. Oh man, this smells amazing, you guys. Okay, this is what it looks like, and I'll show you, see if I can show you the consistency, sort of like a slightly runny soup, and that's how you want it, because as it cools, it'll get a lot thicker. What I usually do is I'll usually keep it in my crock pot. Like it has two containers in the crock pot. I'll put one of queso and one of my green chili salsa. Okay, so let's, the test is in the taste, isn't it? I'll burn myself. Just perfect. It's smooth, a little bit sweet from the chili, a little bit of heat when you get that, and the bacon adds that nice depth of smoky flavor. Well, excuse me, you have your own variations. Feel free to post them on here. I love hearing the creative way that people cook here. So, thank you again. Enjoy your queso. Bienvenido.
campos en la primavera. De colores son los pajaritos que vienen de afuera. De colores es el arco iris que vemos lucir. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Canta el gallo con el kiri, 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 kiri. La gallina con el cara, 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 cara. Los polluelos con el pío, 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 pío. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí.
Thank you for joining me today as we learned about Randy's infinite talents and zest for life. And until next time,